Welcome to season 2 of Glow Up Sister. We're back and we're better and refining this experience for you. We want to meet you where you are, but we also want to create and build this environment where I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to feel at home. If you've been here before or if it's your first time listening, girl, welcome. I really want this environment to feel safe and comfortable and like we're just at home having girl chat and that's what this is. So if you're confused about the different format, that's literally what this is. Be comfortable, be at home. I love you. We're sisters now, we're family, and we're going to hop right into it. I'm going to start by telling you my business because I haven't been in therapy for a while. And I realize that the more I pour into this community, the more you guys pour into me. And so I feel safe to do so. I feel safe to let you in on my business, as you should feel safe to let me in on your business. That's what sisterhood is all about. That's what this is for, okay? I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Obviously, we've been away for a while, and now we're back and we're better. And I love you for sticking around. And if this is your first time listening, I love you again. I love everybody. We're all friends here. We're all sisters here, and we're gonna just be ourselves. We've been away for a while, mainly because I think I needed time because I was going through some stuff. There's a lot of things that we've been working on, but we're here, and I want you to be along for the ride with us because we have a lot in store and we want to meet you where you are. We want to serve you and we want to serve the season well. And we want to serve the season to the best of our ability. Ciao. Okay. The last time we met, the last episode was like in February. And we were talking about self love and Valentine's Day. And we were off the back of all the goals that we set for this year. The beginning of February was amazing. We hit the ground running. We had all these goals and things off the back of our first event. And then life started lifing. I didn't realize that for me, February was going to be as traumatic as it was. And I said, you're in my business, right? So let's really get in my business. I have been unpacking what grief looks like for the past year and a half. And in February was the 1 year anniversary. And as such, everything was chaotic, everything was traumatic. And I realized that February was a huge trigger month. Off the back of that, I was now in this weird wilderness where I'm still trying to show up because I know that I have a task to do. I know that I'm here to serve this community and do all the things that we said we're going to do. And I was struggling to do so, and I was struggling to show up as the best version of myself. So I had to learn to give myself grace and step away for some time. And in that time of stepping away, I've spent a lot of time in prayer. I've spent a lot of time in community. I think what we actualize here in this global community, I'm blessed enough to say it has transcended into my life. So the sisterhood that's on this platform is really a real life sisterhood because in my time away, I'm getting messages from some of the girls that's asking me, yo, what's good? Like, what's really good? And I had to be honest and be like, yo, I'm not there. Like, I'm fully not where I need to be. And I don't know when we're coming back with the podcast. I don't know when we're coming back with regular blog posts. I don't know when we're coming back with another event. I don't know nothing. And I need you to just wait it out with me while I figure it out. And I felt bad having to say that. And I realized that you guys are my writers for real because the love and the outpour that I was getting back in that season, it showed me why we are what we are in this community. It's not me pouring into a community, it's a community that pours into one another. One of the girls reached out to me by email, matter of fact. She reached out by email and she was like, yo, what's going on? Like, you've been quiet. We've not seen an episode. Like, what's really happening? And I kind of expressed to her like the weird season that I was in. And she was like, that's what we're here for. We're the community. We're the glow up sisters. And I just felt like enveloped and like I was in a hug, and it felt great to know that you guys pour into me the way that I pour into you. I appreciate and value that we have a real life sisterhood. And I don't want to get mushy, but yeah, that was happening for a couple of months. And then I went through this gruesome job hunt. Guys, I went to interview after interview, application after application, and I've never had such a gruesome job hunting period or season before in my life. And when all was said and done, God showed up and showed out, and He did what He always does. And I think coming out of the back of that, I'm realizing what a wait looks like. because there are a lot of things in life that we can be waiting for. I'm currently waiting for my husband. I'm waiting for things to shift. I'm waiting for wait, wait, because can we actually be for real? Is that okay? I have discovered that the wait can take form in different ways. And that's the journey that I'm on. And I want to be open and transparent about it because I know that in being open and transparent about it, you're not going to leave me out here by myself while I divulge the things that are happening in my life because I know they're happening in yours too. And if they're not, just make me feel comfortable while I talk to you about them, okay? Yeah, so I'm in this season of unpacking what the wait looks like. And I know people talk about waiting for a spouse, waiting for my kingdom partner, waiting for, ugh, ew, gross, stop it. While that is a thing I'm waiting for, it's a thing that I don't want to idolize. So I am waiting for a lot of things currently. Yes, I am waiting for my husband to meet me and find me. And then I'm going to slap him because, like, what's taking you so long? But there are things I'm waiting for in my career. There are things I'm waiting for as a businesswoman, as an entrepreneur. I am waiting for God to show me who He wants me to be in this season. And so, in those various ways, you can become frustrated. I have become frustrated. We have become frustrated. Yeah. Okay. In this season, I want us to kind of unpack what that looks like. So, the overall theme we're unpacking here is the wait. I don't know what it is that you're waiting for. I don't know how you want God to show up in your life. I don't know the ways in which you're waiting for a thing, a breakthrough, a person, a season, a sign, whatever it is that you're waiting through. We're all waiting for something. And I want us to do that in the best way possible. I want us to wait in a way that is pleasing in God's sight. So while I've been discussing and thinking and writing about this season of the wait, y'all, God kind of gathered me because last year I had a solid instruction to write again. If you know anything about me, I am a writer and I published my first book in 2020. I published it. I didn't think I was going to publish. I didn't think I was even going to write it. God deposited every single part of that book and then it went out and I was like, do what you're going to do with it, Lord. And I moved on. Last year, God gave me a word and I was supposed to write about the waiting season. I kept praying about it and I kept getting this nudge that I have to write about it. So I started writing. The book took a format of a devotional. It was a devotional that I was writing, and every time I would sit down to write, the words were coming onto the page, but I felt disconnected from what I was writing. But I was like, okay, but it's a project that I'm supposed to write, so I'm just going to write it and see what happens. Started writing, the whole thing was happening, and then I put it to the side and I didn't look at it for like 6 months. Fast forward a couple months ago, I hear that word again. It's like, you're being disobedient because I told you to do something and why haven't you done it? And I said, okay, bet. Sat down to write again and it wasn't doing what it was meant to do. Then I had the biggest breakthrough when I realized that the format in which it was taking was not the format it was supposed to take. I'm saying all of this basically to tell you guys that I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book and I think it might shock some people that don't know me well. If you do know me well, shout out to those who grew up with me and were in high school with me when we did these crazy things. We used to write fan fictions, okay? This is a space that I'm supposed to be myself so that you can be yourself, so we can all be ourselves. I'm going to just tell you. We used to write fan fictions. I used to write fan fictions about my favorite celebrities at the time, and it was swell. It was amazing. It was great. We used to write these stories, and we used to come up with screenplays, and we wanted to turn them into books and movies and all these things. And I think as I grew older, I was like, that's not realistic. Like, let's be so for real. In trusting God through this season, I've been reminded to go back to the childlike state that I'd been in previously. I've been reminded to show up as that version of me because when I show up childlike and innocent and I throw my creativity at it and I say, God, do what you're going to do, that's where He meets me. And so, this is a very long winded way of announcing that the book is a romance novel. It's about the waiting season, and it is titled While We Wait. I've had the title for over a year, but I didn't know what format it would take. It's a romance. It is storming outside. That's really scary. You see my blinds shaking? Do I look like I'm shaking to you? It's a romance novel. and it's titled While We Wait. And it will be coming out soon. I'm so glad I got that off my chest. We're talking about the wait. What does the wait look like for us in this season of our lives? Everything that we do, we have to derive it from scripture because the Bible is the only book that we read and it reads us and it meets us in every season of our lives. How do we embrace the wait? Songs of Solomon 8, verse 4. It talks about, daughter of Jerusalem, I charge you, do not awaken love before its time. This is a scripture I keep going back to. It has been a catalyst for my waiting season because if you're anything like me, you are someone who likes to plan, someone who likes to know when things are happening, to have a timeline, to have a deadline for certain things in your life and for certain seasons in your life. However, I hate to break it to you, it can't work that way when you're working on God's time. And so with this scripture, I constantly need to remind myself, don't awaken love before it's time. This was for the girls that's waiting for their husbands, but it's also for those who are waiting for their next season of life. Do not awaken love before it's time. Don't awaken the promise before it's time. Don't awaken the word that God has spoken over your life before it's time. You don't want it prematurely. Because if you get it prematurely, it's going to be a headache for you to maintain it. It's going to be a headache to keep it. One thing that I've learned, especially recently in the job hunt and in getting this job, is everything that comes from God will come to you with ease. I was looking for jobs. I was looking for jobs like a crazy person. I was looking for jobs like a maniac. I was applying to like 5 jobs a day, every day, all day, every day. Like, God, something needs to change. Something has to break. Something has to break. Call me Kara Sheard. Something has to break. Like, I was desperately looking for a job. And what ended up happening was the job that I least prepared for, the interview, every process, everything that I least prepared for was what was actually for me. And in my hunt, I started to settle for less than what I wanted. I started to settle for less than my worth. And in that, I was being rejected by something that I was settling for. And I'm like, what the heck? How are you going to reject me when I've even settled in terms of the job title, in terms of how much y'all gonna pay me, in terms of how many days you want me in the office? I settled because I wasn't getting any luck and you still rejected me. How dare you? And that's when I really realized that rejection was God's protection. And I know people have said that a lot and it sounds so corny, but those jobs rejecting me was God protecting me because he knew what was on the horizon. The wildest thing about it is the job that I did end up getting, I went to the interview ill prepared. I was interviewing for so many roles that I just thought like whatever, they're going to screen me, they're going to find out if I'm a good fit. And once they've screened me, then I'll do my research into the company. And my friend actually told me this, and I realized it after the fact. At every step of the way, where I over prepared and I did everything that I could, the doors were getting closed. But where God met me was where I did less, where I stepped back and I was like, I'm ill prepared, I'm just going to show up. God met me right there, and in my less, He did more. The less that I did, the more that God did. And so it happened with ease. The door opened with ease because He goes before you and He opens those doors. He goes before you and He makes those opportunities available to you. This next thing I'm about to say, I'm saying it to you, but I'm actually saying it to me. I'm saying it to all of us. I'm saying it to the girls, okay? I know what it feels like to be in a season of loneliness, to be in a season where you desire or you want more, or you cannot wait to be in a season of life where you have somebody to share your life with and somebody to settle down with and somebody to build your life with. And I really, really want to say this carefully, but I don't want you, as my sister, to rush into a situation, to settle into a situation, or to walk into a situation that you know God's hand is not on. When His hand is in it, you can tell. When His hand is in it, it catches you unawares. When His hand is in it, you walk straight into things and you don't have to tug, you don't have to pull or force. You walk into it because it's yours and it has your name on it. And so, daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you, do not awaken love before it's time. While we embark on this waiting season, I don't want it to be a passive season. I don't want it to be a season where we're upset because we're like, I'm not yet where I want to be, and I don't have the things that I want to have, and the financial breakthrough hasn't come yet, and my husband hasn't come yet, and it hasn't come yet, and my business hasn't broken even yet. It's not going to be that way forever. We're in this season for a time, and so get what you can out of the season and let God do what God is going to do through the season. I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to me. I'm talking to us. Your weight changes when you realize that there is a purpose behind it. There's something that God is trying to teach you while you are in this season. Open your eyes, open your ears, and be spiritually aware so you can be alert and know what God is actually trying to teach you in this season. Because what if He keeps you in that season longer because you're not learning the lesson that He wants you to learn so you can take it into your next season? I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to me. I'm talking to us, okay? We're going to walk this weight out together, and it's not going to be a passive weight. It's going to be an active wait. We are actively waiting on God. We are waiting. We are in service. Like a waitress in a restaurant, we are waiting on God. How can I be of service? How can I help? What is it that you want to pour into me so you can pour it out of me? When we say, God, use me as a vessel, and this is something I used to do all the time. I would pray and I'd be like, God, use me as a vessel. Use me as a vessel, Lord. Use me as a vessel. And I would think it was going to look one way. I would be like, He's going to use me and it's going to be so great. And people are going to notice it and they're going to be like, praise God. Look at God moving in your life. No, boo. The way that God uses you is in the way you least expect it, but you have to be willing and able to surrender everything to Him because He's going to use something that you don't think He's going to use. He might use your actual life. He might use the thing that you think you're not good at, the thing that you think you're not called to, the thing that you're not skilled in, whatever it is, He's going to use it because He's going to get the glory out of it. It will never be a circumstance where we get the glory in the end. It's all glory belongs to God. And so let God do what He's going to do with it because He's going to do it in a way that you never even thought it. I really had a structure for this episode and I had notes, but I just went on a whim. And I don't think I mind that because I really just want this to be moments where we can sit down with one another, talk to one another, and have girl chat and really, really unpack. I want you to join us on this season of waiting. I want you to identify what it is you're waiting for in life. I want you to identify what your wait looks like. One thing about it, this is about to be a community where we walk through this together. We are embarking on this journey of waiting, and we want to do so in a way that pleases God. And yeah, I want to hear from you. What are you waiting on? This is a season that we are surrendering to God, and we are walking into it blindly, and we're saying, God, have your way. Do that which only you can, and meet us where we are. I am anxious and nervous and excited and anticipant to see what God is going to do and how He's going to meet us as we continue to meet here and dive into and unpack what the wait looks like. I want to thank you so much for listening. I want to thank you so much for being a part of this podcast community. I want to thank you so much for being you. I want to say I'm so proud of you for showing up for yourself. We're going to continue to show up week in, week out as we do the soul work and as we grow into the women that God is calling us to be in this season. If nobody has told you thus far, I'm telling you, I love you, not for anything that you've done, but just for who you are. I love you. God is not done with you. As a matter of fact, He's just getting started with you. There is a reason for the breath that is in your lungs, and you are called for a time such as this. I am so proud of the woman that you're becoming, and I am so excited that we get to go on this journey together.